I'm sure many of you have started to notice that my hard, intimidating, masculine exterior shell has begun to crack a little bit over the last month or so. It's almost like a Gundam where this peak masculine body is being piloted by a more sensitive Charlie on the inside. And on stream, I've been getting kind of emotional, very nostalgic, really, remembering and ranting about the golden glory days of entertainment. And without fail, every time the conversation immediately turns to Attitude Era Wrestling, WWF, WWE, and also, of course, by extension, Backyard Wrestling Productions. I lived and breathed wrestling when I was a kid. So when I get in my feelings about getting older and reminiscing about things that I liked when I was young, I always make sure to mention or pull up clips from old school wrestling moments. Iconic stuff like Stone Cold vs. Booker T in a grocery store, Mankind McFoley getting tossed off Hell in a Cell, Shawn Michaels with his sweet chin music where he goes backstage and super kicks like 5 innocent dudes, all of whom just eat shit on concrete. It is amazing. It was just such an impactful part of my childhood. I'm actually pretty sure my first celebrity crush ever was Stacy Keibler, though I'm sure every man on the planet also had that same crush during this era. And it wasn't just, WWE and all that. Backyard wrestling, I got very big into. I used to get like these bootlegged VHS tapes of backyard wrestling performances. They even had a backyard wrestling game that went to the Xbox at one point, and that game had a like behind the scenes moment where there was like a vagina that got shown for a split second, and that was the first time I ever saw a pussy in my life. Point is, wrestling was very big for me in my formative years. And I've been wanting to recapture that magic. I've been watching some WWE, some AEW, and while I still like both of those, there's just something missing. And I thought, why not combine the old Attitude Era wrestling with backyard wrestling scuff goofiness? So we thought, let's just fucking let it rip. So the title's not clickbait. The WWE is in huge trouble because we've created our own wrestling league, the Moist Wrestling League, the MWL, and we've already filmed our first episode. And I've got to tell you, it's a masterpiece. If this doesn't win awards, then the entire system is flawed. It's all rigged. It's corrupt from top to bottom. Because this is true art. This is why video cameras were invented, to capture what we did about a week ago. It is an amazing, amazing pilot. It goes up tonight at 8 p.m. EST, and I wanted to make this video just to kind of announce it and explain why, because dropping this bad boy cold turkey into the wild would just be a disservice to the craft. So our first match is between Chainsaw and Dow Jones. Now, I want to make it clear, I am a fan of CZW, Combat Zone Wrestling. I am very familiar with it and have been for quite some time. I know for a lot of people, when they hear backyard wrestling, their mind kind of defaults to CZW and the brutality of it. And that's just a little too extreme for us right now. We don't have the capabilities of doing what CZW does with like fucking flaming sledgehammers and like blasting ass the way they do. It's not going to be like CZW. For those that don't know, CZW is like actual fucking death matches. Like, this is some shit out of Mad Max. Like, it is still like wrestling, but they use like weed whackers and actually just hit themselves with it. They fly through glass, do like atomic pile drivers from the top of buildings onto concrete, onto beds of nails, hit each other with baseball bats, a barbed wire. It's fucking intense. It's hype. But that we can't really integrate into the Moist Wrestling League. And also, it's not us wrestling. It's not like me versus Matt or anything like that. We actually got real local wrestlers to participate, so they're actually good at it. So it's not like super embarrassing with us doing like geriatric maneuvers. It's like wrestling. So we wanted to kick off the MWL with a very simple plot line and characters for our pilot episode, though we do have a lot written and brainstormed for future storylines that are deep and outrageous. Like, it puts Game of Thrones to shame with the complex narrative we're weaving here with the MWL. Now, for episode 1 here, we've kicked it off with a grudge match, Chainsaw vs. Dow Jones. Now, as the name would have you believe, Chainsaw is an angel. He's a soft-spoken sweetheart who's just an all-around upstanding citizen and just an invaluable member of his community. He donates to local shelters. He only shops at local businesses. And he's even a frequent volunteer at the soup kitchen because he just wants to do his part to make the community a better place for everyone. But unfortunately, Chainsaw was dealt a bit of a bad hand. He lost his wife and his house in the 2008 recession, and he's never fully recovered from it. Chainsaw fully blames the stock market for everything that went wrong in his life, and unfortunately, he doesn't subscribe to forgiveness. So he has no mercy for the stock market and is looking to finally avenge all of the loss he suffered at its hands in 2008. And last week we gave him that opportunity where he'd go toe-to-toe with the stock market itself, Dow Jones. Dow Jones is a cocky man. He's a bad guy. He's absolutely the heel here, and they duked it out. It's a very standard match in a ring, but we do plan on branching this out into wackier venues and shit. We do plan on doing things like the WWE used to do, where, like, you know, Vince McMahon's in a hospital bed and Stone Cold is pretending to be the nurse and then starts wailing on his broken leg, shit like that. I'd love to get to a point where we can go to just crazy places and do wild little matches. Like, go to a real prison and we have, like, two bad dudes squaring off, fucking Megor versus Thorgor. And it's a death row match where the loser gets thrown into an electric chair. So they're like fighting each other around the electric chair. And instead of a pin, they're like flipping switches. So like 1 flip, 2, and then 3's the electric chair. Like, just outrageous shit. Obviously, it wouldn't be real electric chair, life or death or anything. But I just love the idea of just getting outrageously wacky with it. The beauty of Attitude Era and backyard wrestling is it's just anything goes. Like, anything could work. If we did that electric chair thing and we play off like, oh man, Megor is dead, well then 2 weeks from there, like a Royal Rumble, we could have a necromancer come in and bring him back to life and work him like a fucking puppet in the ring or something. Like, I just love the freedom of just going absolutely hog wild with wrestling. And that's the entire design of the Moist Wrestling League. And we wanted to start off small, of course, so our first production, our first match that goes up today, is very bare bones. We ran it very skinny, but it's only going to get bigger and better from here. Hopefully you all like it. We're extremely excited about it and had a ton of fun putting it on. We'd also like to eventually tour with it if we get to a point where it's like actually popular and people get excited about it. So yeah, this is just kind of my brief little Shark Tank pitch to all of you about MWL, the Moist Wrestling League. We've got quite a few more matches planned out in our heads, as well as general ideas on other wild shit we can do with the concept. So yeah, just hope all of you enjoy it. Again, it goes up at 8 p.m. EST tonight, so about like 5-ish hours from the time this video goes up. So yeah. And since we're just here shooting this shit, I'll also announce one more thing that I keep getting asked about. When does issue 3 of Godslap release? It comes out on March 8th. So issue 3 of Godslap is coming out March 8th. Per usual, standard cover, 2 variants that'll only ever be a limited supply. So once those are sold out, they're gone forever. Issue 3 of Godslap's right around the corner. So March 8th, mark your calendar on that. It's just 5 days away for that puppy. And yeah, that's really about it. See ya.